We also found that there were survival was based on the cram it all together, and that's how they got through. And we also found, as we peeled away, this onion, that their other fellow students were their greatest supporters. And that was really nice. And I can tell you, and they went on to great, fabulous jobs, wonderful jobs. One of them is a professor of social work at the university. He was doing fantastic work on abuse of women and children in the Arab communities.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would have penetrated that
Mm-hmm.
taboo area. He did, and he's written the nice stuff. So that was so. You see, one thing led to another.
Now, how did the you mentioned that your special group, you then divided into two groups?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Supported versus
very
non-supported.
good. No significant difference between
Okay.
the disadvantaged who got help and
Uh-huh.
no significant difference at all.
Uh-huh.
By the way, the other important thing: the faculty knew absolutely nothing, no names. They had no idea who was in any of the groups. And after the project ended, I had faculty people come out to me in the hall and say, "Oh, I have a student who's in your project," and the project had ended a year or 2 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's just wonderful. I didn't want them to do them any favors, the
Right.
students, and I didn't
Right.
want them to do them any trouble. You know what I mean?
Right.
That
Right.
was a variable that I didn't want to get them to be involved at all. And that was a nice project. That was really a nice project. That's another story. And then the School of Agriculture. You visited in Rehovot, the School of Agriculture. And this law school became interested in doing the same thing in their faculties. And at that point, the project was finished. Because the university really didn't want to make it university-wide policy.
Mm-hmm.
It was an experiment,
Mm-hmm.
interesting experiment. And it stirred up a lot of some members of the parliament today. In fact, one of the people who was a prime minister, he was a prime minister candidate, was a great outspoken warrior for this change.
He was in favor of the change.
He was in favor of the change.
Uh-huh.
He came out of Beersheba, a poor neighborhood, the Dalit neighborhood in Beersheba, well known for its poverty. He went to law school. He got into the Hebrew University. He made his way through law school. He came out as a lawyer. He went into politics, and he did very well. He made it. But a lot of people were influenced by it.
Mm-hmm.
It raised the issue. One thing I think it did do is created cultural sensitivity,
Mm-hmm.
certainly in the School of Social Work and in some other places.
And by cultural sensitivity, you mean better understanding of the other ethnicity.
Absolutely right. Because all these things, you put them together, you put this all together, and it's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, extremely important. It's amazing in Israel, which is a country that absorbed so many immigrants from different countries. You would think that they would have been more culturally sensitive in the beginning. No, but the idea was, in the beginning, by the founders, including Ben-Gurion and many others, we're taking these disadvantaged populations, and we want to make of them a Western population, like we are. Logical. Some senior professors in the School of Education, they talked about their concepts and their wording was, just translating from the Hebrew, people in need of development. Students, children in need of development. I created the concept, and I coined it, students in need of opportunity, people in need of opportunity, to renee his damnuyot, the chance to compete. That's the key. Because once you let them into the university, they find their way through it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them.
So actually, you might say that's the central message of the relative comparison that you made, that there was a slight difference in performance, but it was slight, which
Right.
says basically this is a population of disadvantaged people who, if given the opportunity,
That's right.
can do very well.
And there's another message. There's another message that's really I think a very important message. That any society that does not give these opportunities is missing out on the talent and the contribution that these people can make to that society. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it's on the personal level for sure that we talked about till now, but it's way beyond that. there's talent out there that's unpolished diamonds. I mean, some of these people we saw some yesterday at the,
Exactly.
they honored these
In
volunteers.
city year.
When I looked at them, I tell you, what went through my head was that research.
Mhm.
First time I started talking with them, because these are unpolished diamonds. These kids are they're gonna contribute to society and to their children and their families. We're not talking about today. We're talking about generations down the line. What is this? What are the implications for this?
So that's a very valid.
Extremely important. Extremely important. Personal and social, societal implications.
Great. That's really really great. We've kind of gone through both the development of your career, but also one of the other subjects I was interested in talking about, and that is how to bring together social science research, behavioral research, field research with the creation of policies and the evaluation of policies.
Right. Well,
And it sounds like that's been sort of a constant
Yes.
part of your own approach.
Yes, very much so. But there's policy and policy. There's, the nice thing about Israel, it's the size of New Jersey. 7,500,000. The nice thing about it is you can see how the wheel goes around, and if you're lucky, and if you're in the right place at the right time with the right idea, you can help the wheel move. It's not that big.
Mm-hmm.
Not that big. You're not lost in the machinery. And that I really always had a good feeling about.
Mm-hmm.
That you could get involved. You could make a difference. You can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's really tragic when people say, well, other people, let them do it. Why don't they do it? They don't get involved. But Israel, Israel has 40,000 registered nonprofit organizations. Per capita, that's pretty high. 1,000 organizations, 1,500 new ones registered every year. That's pretty high. I love the nonprofit sector. The nonprofit sector has grown to be really very significant, especially since the country moved from a quasi-socialist economy to a capitalist economy. In a capitalist economy, the government pulls back and they start working with the nonprofit sector. Sometimes they'll buy services from them, contracting out. And the nonprofit sector brings its stuff and its resources and its talent and its efficiency or inefficiency, but it brings it to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have three real partners in Israel. This has developed in the last 20 years. It's unbelievable. The nonprofit sector, the business sector, and the government sector. It's really unbelievable. It's a beauty to watch. So I've spent the last number of years fighting very hard for recognition of the nonprofit sector, and for example, the taxation of the nonprofit sector was horrible. It was a source of income to the government. Horrible. And so we succeeded in getting some of those taxes abolished.
Mm-hmm.
Within the last 5 years. One particular law left something like 300 million shekel, it wasn't 100 million, something like that, dollars, so to speak, back in the hands of the nonprofit, which they had paid in taxes. Taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And because they were never a really well-organized lobby in Israel, everybody was doing their thing. We tried to get it more organized and more vocal. The government then set up and took notice. And